Hello. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Right. Right, welcome. I'm Andy, father of the bride, and I thought I'd enlist her help with Stevie Wonder with my speech. Don't worry, he's not read it, because he's blind, obviously. But he has got 2 songs with 3 words in the title. And I thought they were quite appropriate for Emma and Richard. So I'm not going to sing, but the first one's for Emma, and those 3 words are, isn't she lovely? Yeah. Right, I'm going to build up to Richard's. I've tried to make it a bit topical, so bear with me. But, so Rich, I know COVID came and stayed too long. So now I'm wondering if your love's still strong. Well, Emma, here he is. Signed, sealed, delivered. Here's yours. Hey, hey. You like that, eh? Royal Mail, little subtle reference there. Yeah. Subtle Royal Mail. And talking of Royal Mail, I don't know how the pair did this. It must be her marketing and his managerial experience, but how they got their 2 initials on the side of every bloody Royal Mail lorry and van and postbox is beyond me. And I presume the 2 between the E and the R is a reference to the second attempt to get this on. Yeah? And hey, Rich, I saw the crown. King. I got it. Well done. Right. Apology now. Project manager by trade, so I'm going to hit you with a few key dates. First key date, 18th of Feb, 2009. That's when Richard started asking Emma out. He asked her initially on the 14th, Valentine's Day, day after her 18th birthday. That's how long it's took him to sort this out. And she said no. And he asked her 4 days later and she changed her mind, and everybody is delighted you did. Not funny. I'm getting a critic here. Anyway, I remember saying, well, tell us a bit about this lad from Beeston then. And she said, well, he's rich, Dad. and he's got a smart car. I said, great, he's got loads of money. And he drives a flash car, marry him. She said, no, his name's Rich. And he does drive one of them smart car things. Oh, I thought, oh, God. But I have to be honest with you, I did think to myself, thank God for that. At least he's not one of these petrol heads that drives a bloody Subaru. Anyway, moving swiftly on, second key date, 14th of March, 2017. That's when we all heard the patter of little feet. But that just turned out to be our mate Frank, coming round to give us a quote for decorating. But anyway, he's little, if you don't know him. But yeah, but obviously that was the day that Sophie Grace was born. And what an absolute bundle of joy she is. And a total credit to the pair of you. Right, third date was the 9th of October, 2018. That's when Richard proposed to Emma in France, hence the theme. In case you thought it was Blackpool. I think they'd just been going out just short of 10 years. Because of COVID, they've been going out, been engaged just over 2.5 years, bringing us to today. So there you go. Right. The Binghams. I'm going to talk about the Binghams. Hey. No, don't worry. I include, but when I say the Binghams, when I say the Binghams, I do include all the Binghams, the wider family. Now, we knew that they were sociable. We knew that they were generous, both in terms of the money and the time they give people. Countless Christmas dues, etc. There you go. Proper critique, she's off. But I have to say, we learnt the most about the Binghams unfortunately, when Richard and Emma's brother-in-law was hospitalised for several months, basically I've never known a family so loving, so caring, so supportive, and so positive as they were. Yeah, and well, there you go. Yeah, and and I think it just really confirmed to us what we already knew, but they're just a proper family, and they're a genuine family, and the one that Adam and Amanda and Kerry and I are more than happy that Emma's part of. So there you go. Right, quick shout out for the grandparents. Richard was lucky, he knew all his grandparents growing up. Unfortunately, John's not here to celebrate with us, but I'm sure he's given us the thumbs up. But Christine, Carol and Mick are here, and I'm delighted they are to share this moment. Yeah. I'd also like to extend the welcome to Alistair as well, Christine's friend. You're very welcome, Alistair. Emma's not quite so lucky. She didn't know any of her grandparents. She knew all of her grandparents growing up, apart from one. That was my mum, Norma. So when I gave my mum's engagement ring to Emma, it made it really special. And I hope she liked it, and she said she did. And she said, hopefully, if the right person comes along, I'll get a chance to wear it. Well, the right person did come along. He sat next to her today, and my mum's engagement ring sits proudly on Emma's finger. So brilliant. So I want to say thank you to Richard, first of all, for knowing that's what Emma wanted, and secondly, for being brave enough to take it to France. And I know you went up the Eiffel Tower, back down again because it was too windy to propose. You found a park in the middle of Paris, and you proposed to our daughter, so thank you. Emma, tough bit. I just want to say thanks to you for having so much love and respect for somebody you never even knew. So bless you. Right, sorry, I've not been this emotional since Tony and I got the bill for this place. I'm going to have to finish with an Emmaism and then a quote. An Emmaism is what we refer to when she embarrasses herself. And I always remember, my favourite one is when she went to London, and she went sightseeing. She came back home, and I said, what did you think to it? And she said, what do you think to Buckingham Palace? And she said, well, it was bigger than I thought, but it was all right. I said, what about the museums? She said, well, all right, a bit boring. I said, what about Trafalgar Square, Nelson's Column? And she said, well, I was a bit surprised, Dad. She says, I never knew he wore a hat like that, and I never knew he only had one arm. And she says, I wouldn't mind, but he didn't even look black. I said, Emma, it's Admiral Horatio Nelson, Battle of Trafalgar, hence Trafalgar Square, not Nelson bloody Mandela. But that's Em for you. That's my favourite Emmaism. And we absolutely, the family love her to bits, and don't ever change. Don't ever change. I'll just leave you with a quote now, because I know I'm waffling on. So the quote is as follows. Life is not measured by the breaths we take, but by the moments that take our breath away. And today you've took my breath away. So please be upstanding for the bride and groom. Bride and groom. Thank you.
So like Andy, I've wrote mine down. I couldn't remember it. It's about 18 pages, so should be all right. Right. So thank you, Andy, first of all, for your kind words. I'm not quite sure I'll follow that, but I'll give it a go. Emma, looking amazing and beautiful as always, even after the dress change. But on behalf of my wife and I want to thank you all for coming to spend our special day with us. I'm so happy I finally got to marry the woman I love and share this special moment with you all. Thanks to Andy and Kerry for everything that you have done for us, for the help putting this wedding together, this special day, welcoming me to the family, and letting me marry this beautiful daughter of yours. Next one, thanks to my mother and father for everything you've done for me and Emma, both the wedding and for putting up with me for all these years. So thank you for that. Yeah, and the concreting that he does for me, and yeah. And not forgetting the bridesmaids, you're all dotted about in various areas. You all look amazing, and a special thanks to the maid of honour, my wonderful sister Rebecca. You've kept Emma sane, and we couldn't have done any of this without you. So, and finally, another thanks to the groomsmen, and of course the best man, wherever he is, over here. They all made sure I got here today in one piece, especially after my calamities of yesterday. So, but we won't mention that. So as Andy said, I met Emma in 2009. I'm not sure she was too impressed with my left-hand drive smart car. But my good looks must have got the better of her. We had a first date at the cinema, and following dates on from this, one time eating frying steak at Emma's mum and dad's. I quite liked the steak, but later found out Andy wasn't too impressed that Emma had given me the cheap steak. Fast forward several years to Paris. In 2019, I asked Emma to marry me. I carried a ring around with me for 3 days before I found the courage and the right moment. It was a little grass park area on a road leading to the Arc de Triomphe. It was perfect in its own way, apart from my choice of road names to propose on. Probably wasn't the best. It turned out to be Fock Avenue. So, yeah, but we do know where it is now. So, but thankfully she said yes, and we celebrated with the most expensive cheese board and a €13 pint of Carling. So, yeah, that was good. We've had so many good times together. We've created so many memories. There's so much we've learnt about each other, and the love I have for my new wife continues to grow every day. I love her ambition, her drive, motivation, and determination, especially to get things done. I love how caring she is for her family and friends, Sophie and me, and how she puts herself out to make sure others are okay. She's an amazing mum, and I see how much she loves and cares for our beautiful daughter, Sophie. I love the way she makes me feel, looks after me and puts up with me, because let's be fair, not many women would let their other half have a brewery in the garage. So I'm really looking forward to spending the rest of my life with them and creating even more crazy, special, warm and lovely memories together. I haven't got a lot more, so before I do pass over to the best man, I know it's quite a brief speech, but I think everybody else will cover it off, VJ. I'd like to propose a toast, not just to me and Emma getting married on this special day, but to the bridesmaids, the groomsmen, our family and friends. Today is special in many ways, and also the joining of two families. The Kings formally become part of the Binghams. Cheers, everybody. Enjoy the day. Thank you. Only brief.
Testing. Obviously, everyone knows me, knows I like to write a good poem. Sorry, I got it from Grandma. But I couldn't go today without writing one. I actually decided like 2 days ago to do it, so I whipped it up, so if it's not very good, sorry. You ready? I wish I had the time to thank everyone in this room. I'll have to stick to just a few, starting with the parents of the groom. Thank you, Anne and Tony, for everything that you've done. You've raised in Richard a wonderful man you should be proud to call your son. Thank you, Mum and Dad, for supporting me all these years, for making today my dream come true, full of joy and happy tears. Thank you to my bridesmaids, you all look beautiful today. And to our gorgeous flower girl, Sophie, our princess for the day. It's not over, it's not over. A special shout out to Holly for your amazing work of art. Thank you for drawing our Paris landmarks on the table from the bottom of my heart. Thank you to my brother Adam for the website you offered to make. Thank you, Auntie Jackie, for our awesome wedding cake. Thank you to our best man, VJ, our ushers and groomsmen too. Thanks to all our family and friends. What would we do without you? Rebecca, my maid of honor. You've kept me sane and calm and strong. And I was going to mention everything you've done. But the list's far too long, Beck. I told you I had a prop. Last but not least, my husband, thank you for choosing me to spend the rest of your life with and build a happy family. Ladies and gentlemen, raise a glass not only to the bride and groom, but to every single one of us and the love that fills this room. To love! Thanks to Charlotte for the scroll. Excellent. And Richard's drill bit as well. Thanks for making it. His drill bit. Over to my beautiful, beautiful maid of honor.
Thank you, Moon. Thank you. So, when Emma asked me to maid of honor, I knew it wasn't going to be the smoothest ride. Let's put it that way. I thought fiasco after fiasco. We got there, though. I was so happy today, and we actually got in the cars, like, we're here. We've made it. After my shoe snapped and everything else, yeah. But she asked me to write a poem, and she wrote a lovely poem for our wedding, so I'm hoping this does it justice. I had my chief writer on it, so... so, praise to him. So, here we go. See how we go. It may have taken a decade for Richard to ask for Emma's hand, but eventually all went down just the way she had planned. Now, the wedding ball was rolling, and Emma could stop her flapping, which, by the way, was forgivable because no one could see it happening. First, there were just the two of them, as happy as can be, but Rich didn't have the nerve to pop the question until he had the backup of beautiful number 3. He thought, what's the rush anyway? Love's not a race. But now I'll pop the question with the backup of beautiful Sophie Grace. With the backdrop of lovely Paris, Richard finally had the nerve. He popped the big question, which Emma decided not to swerve. Of course, the answer was yes. No surprise to you or me. It only took the backup of beautiful number 3. Nobody can deny their love for each other. It's almost as strong as their love for sugar. However, a nice chunk of cheese and a slice of pork pie is always enough to catch Rich and Em's eye. Now, we all know Emma is the Prosecco queen. After a little tipple, her dance moves must be seen. Keep an eye out for the bride's Disney-like prance, but try and avoid the groom's weird floaty man dance. We all know Richard well. He can be a little bit of a grump, but Emma is the perfect person to pull him out of a slump. There's also times when Emma can't get rid of her frown, but Richard knows how to turn it upside down. He brings out the best in her, and she brings out the best in him. And unlike Abel of the Forest, I'm sure they'll always win. I'm sure you'll agree that their love was meant to be. From the day it began to sprout, their marriage was never in doubt. Now Richard and Emma are married. I'm sure it'll be a blast. I know they will make more memories that are always going to last. So here's to the bride and groom. Perfect timing. So here's to the bride and groom, to who we're all sending our love, as are the beloved family looking down from up above. If you'd like to join me in 3 cheers, Andy, if you want to start it off. One more.
You want to have a quick go first? Come here then.
What do you want to say, Sophie?
What have you got to say?
Eden, are Mommy and Daddy's ready? Come to Mommy and Daddy.
Come on then, down the
And
corner.
then, give it a cheer.
Give me a cheer. Ready? You good? Hello, hello. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if there's anyone here amongst us today who should be feeling nervous, apprehensive, and maybe even a little queasy at the thought of what lies ahead, well, it's probably you, Emma, because you've just married Rich. For anyone here who doesn't know me, which isn't too many of you, I'm VJ, I'm Richard's best man. I'd just like to take this chance to thank Rich personally for giving me this responsibility. I feel honoured, but you've definitely taken a chance. On a serious note, from me, all of you groomsmen, the lovely little flower girl, and of course the beautiful bridesmaids, thank you both for including us all as part of your special day. We all know how much time, effort, and preparation has gone into today, and I can assure you, Emma, Rich is having a great time. Speaking of which, I hope everyone else has had a lovely time so far, and I'd like to apologise in advance if I, in any way, ruin the next few minutes. I recently read that a best man speech should take about as long as the groom does to make love. So don't worry, we won't be here long. I've already been 2 minutes, haven't I? I met Rich through John over there, and we've been mates for about 20 years now, and boy, have we got some stories to tell, most of which are far too explicit for this occasion. Make of that what you will. We've been through it all, mate. We've been on many trips to Amsterdam. We've spent hours and hours writing countless classic songs. Not to forget the fact that we both worked together at Royal Mail for the past 17 years. And of course, all of the drunken evenings spent at Anne and Tony's. Although, one early famous tale does spring to mind, and that's that night at Jackie and Kev's. Not long after I'd met Rich, on a Friday night, it came about that Jackie and Kev were going away for the weekend and needed someone to keep an eye on the animals. The natural choice, of course, was a young, immature, 14-year-old Richard, who saw this as a great opportunity to invite some friends over. I mean, we obviously had the sole intention of having a small party and getting drunk, so we all went round and we let the drinks flow. We'd all told our parents that we were staying at one another's houses so that no one checked on our whereabouts. Now, we weren't the quietest bunch, but Rich insisted that we had to keep quietish so that the neighbours didn't realise we were there. That was never going to happen. I remember a little later in the evening, a couple of the other lads were insistent on going out to get a kebab, but Rich wasn't too keen on the idea of people going in and out. Eventually, about 5 minutes later, he caved in, of course, and I think he was willing to risk it all for a kebab. Now, this is where I ducked out. Me being the big paranoid wimp of the group and all, but I got into my head that we were going to get caught and get into trouble. In hindsight, my timing to leave could not have been better. This is where I turned to John and Anne to assist with the rest of the story. So, the others returned with food, and the night grew later, and the lads got extremely wasted. Anne had not heard from Rich all evening, and obviously, as a worried parent, had been calling Rich to check that he was okay. But he just ignored all the calls. Why didn't he just answer? Everything would have been fine if he'd have just answered his phone. Now, Anne, growing increasingly concerned, went out to try and find Rich. One by one, she tried everyone's houses, but Rich was nowhere to be found. Anne eventually got to our friend's house, where she went to knock on and noticed that our friend's house had been broken into. Now, something wasn't right. Then it clicked that Rich had the key to Jackie's house. She rang the police to notify them of the break-in, and also to let them know that she was having difficulty locating Rich, but she had an inkling that he was at Jackie and Kev's, so she gave them the address. Anne and Tony went straight round to Jackie's, where Anne opened the letterbox to see a load of bikes in the hallway. The game was up. She knew they were all there. Anne then attempted to start a line of communication with Rich, but this was only one way. She shouted through that she knew they were all in there and she could see all the bikes. Of course, Rich was adamant to everyone in the group that nobody knows we're here. Anne and Tony were running out of patience and shouted through to Rich that if she didn't open the door, they'd have to break in. Rich, again, ignored these commands. Inevitably, Tony had to smash a pane of glass on the door to break in. Perfect timing because the police turned up just at the same time. Even as the footsteps were coming up the stairs, Rich still maintained to everyone there that nobody knows we're here. It wasn't until they opened the door to a young Alex's bedroom that Anne, Tony, and the police were greeted by a small crew of highly intoxicated teenage boys. Anne proceeded to immediately then assault Rich and gave him the kicking he deserved, and also gave everyone else in the room a stern dressing down. After the telling off they received, the copper kindly agreed to drop everyone else back off at home at their parents' house in a lovely taxi. A riot van, of course. Luckily for John, Tony and Anne took him home along with a rather quiet and sheepish Rich. Not so lucky for the rest of our mates, mind you. Now, what a collective memory of my first night out with Richard Bingham. On a serious note, though, Rich, truth be told, you're like a brother to me. We've been through thick and thin together. You're always Mr. Reliable, and I can't ever recall a time where we've fallen out. I couldn't be prouder to stand here today on your too special day as your best man. Now that leads me on to the special couple. Firstly, Emma, I'm sure I can speak for everybody here today in letting you know that you look absolutely stunning. And Rich is one lucky man. Now, Rich met the love of his life in 2016. He instantly fell in love. He'd never seen a beauty quite like her before. She even makes loud noises when Rich turns her on. It brought a tear to my eye because, you know, I'd never witnessed true love before. Not until the day I saw Rich pull up in the Subaru. All joking aside, as we all know, you guys met in 2009. As a close mate to Rich, I felt it my personal responsibility to ensure that the girl one of my best mates was dating was good to and for him. You'll be pleased to know, Emma, you passed with flying colours. Also, well done for putting up with him for so long. Now, to provide a little analogy that I think Rich, Emma, and especially you, Tony, will be able to relate from, is the viewpoint of a beer brewer. There are many similarities between a happy marriage and brewing the perfect beer. First of all, consistency. Like a good brew, Emma and Richard's relationship has never faltered and has definitely withstood the test of time. And secondly, the key ingredients, the best ingredients, and in the right quantities. Comparing this to their relationship, they hold it all. Mutual respect, compassion, trust, and most important of all, love. Since the minute you two got together, you just had a natural connection to one another. Plus, you also put up with Richard's grumpy moments, which there's a lot of. So hats off to you, Em. In my opinion, though, you pair are quite simply a match made in heaven and have a special relationship based on giving and receiving, as well as having and sharing. Although, Em, with years of married life ahead of you, you have one vital role, as we have discussed on many occasions, and that's not to let Rich get too chunky. In 2017, Rich and Emma then welcomed wonderful little Sophie into all of our lives. And what a bundle of happiness she is. Myself and Dr. Moon over there were given the honour of being joint godfathers, although I think Nick was a little too happy about our newfound partnership. Anyway, I just want to take this chance to give you both a huge shout out to tell you what fantastic parents you are. As a dad too, I know that you guys are the first people that I look up to and turn to for help and advice when it comes to Leo. I feel it only right to mention both of your families too. Since you guys got together way back, both of your families just clicked and slotted together seamlessly as one big family, much the same as you two. I'm positive that Anne and Tony are so proud to have Emma as their daughter-in-law. Andy and Kerry? Maybe not so much. Now, this may be a best man speech, but I also want to make a special mention to you, Emma. Since you and Rich got together, you and I have always gotten on really well, and we are great mates too. So, just a quick thank you, really. I feel like I'm just as much your best man as well as Richard's. Now, leading on from this soppy moment, I'd just like to take the chance to thank everyone from both sides of your families. Everyone has played a vital role, and so much time, thought, and effort has gone into today. And without the help of everybody involved, none of this would have been possible. I'd also not like to thank COVID. But we made it, so stuff you. Now, I could go on taking the mickey out of Rich all day, but I'm sure everyone's hungry by now and bored of me. And Rich can humiliate himself enough without my help. I wish you two a long and happy marriage and life together. Emma, please try and look after Rich, he struggles. So, could I ask everybody in the room to raise your glasses and join me all in a toast to the bride and groom, Emma and Rich. Pow.